Hello everyone, welcome to Sir's classes. This is Tushar Shaw, and in this video we will be reviewing and discussing the certain features about the book Principles of Organic Synthesis by ROC Norman and J.M. Coxon. Okay, so this book basically we call it as Norman Coxon book because obviously the writers Norman and Coxon are there. Okay, so this book initially, like, it had the most basic feature about this book is you have many reactions and certain mechanisms quite properly explained in this book, which is not there in any other book possible that I have read. Obviously, I have read many books, and the some organic reactions that are there in a book with that is there explained in this book is not as good as as good as explained in this book, that is not there in any other book. Okay, so first of all, so let us discuss the review this book and discuss what are the main features, how can you study this book, for what chapters you can follow, for what parts you can follow, and what are the and what kind of exams you can the knowledge from this book will be requiring it. Okay, so yeah, so the professors that are that have written this book is Sir Richard Norman. He is from the Exeter College, University of Oxford, UK. Okay, and the next professor is J.M. Coxon, who is a professor of chemistry in University of Canterbury, New Zealand. Okay, so these are the two professors, and the book is published by yeah, so the book is published by CRC Press, which is obviously an international press. So you have now, by now, you must have figured out that this book is an international book, and therefore reprint in India is illegal, and this book will be very highly priced. Okay, so I'm estimating around 2K would be the price of this book. So if, and the piracy of book is this book is even illegal. You may either buy it on Amazon or Flipkart or any other standard bookstore online. You won't be finding it. I don't think so. You'll be finding it in the local book vendors. Okay, so, and the PDF, I have obtained this PDF from my professor only, because he's one of the, like, he's a professor of IIT Kharagpur. So he has this legal copy of this book, and I have obtained from him only. If you require this, I'll be sending it to you. Contact me via email. Okay, my email is tusharshaw9420@gmail.com. Okay, so obviously the piracy is not possible. You may read this notice that is given here, so we'll be not going into that. Our main concern is the knowledge that the book is given. Okay, so the preface is given. Preface, as each and every standard book has preface. So this one also has, from the professors who have written this book. Okay, so now look at the contents and the main part, the main theories and the main syllabus that is given in the book, and we'll be, like, discussing the contents first in details, and then we'll be looking into the actual matter of the book. Okay, so first of all, the first topic is chemical thermodynamics. Okay, let me change the. Okay, so yeah, so chemical thermodynamics, obviously the from this part, chemical thermodynamics, not usually a lot of questions come, because this part is just to understand how the mechanism is occurring. Basically, thermodynamics is a part of physical chemistry, and in physical chemistry you might expect that questions might come from the thermodynamics part, but in this case, in organic chemistry, that is not the case, specifically when just reactions are involved. Okay, so the equilibrium is given, the free energy is given, the bond energies are explained, the entropies are, how the entropies work, what are the kinds of ring formation, and those kind of. I'll be explaining them in details a few minutes later. Okay, so those are the things that are given. Then the further applications of thermodynamic principles. Okay, so these principles are, like, quite important if you are studying the thermodynamic aspect of organic chemistry. So you must, like, you will be getting good details about that in this book. Okay, now the molecular structure part is obviously, like, kind of a very layman thing. If you are starting studying chemistry on Earth, this is the first thing that you will be learning in organic chemistry. So this is explained quite perfectly in other books also. There's no necessity of following just this book. Obviously, as I have told you earlier, that you might consider this book as a reference to some of the topics that I'll be giving, I'll be explaining. Some of the topics that are given in this book are quite quite preferential and quite useful for you if you study from this book, because those topics are quite heavily and properly explained in this book. But topics like this molecular structure, you won't be requiring to like just study from this book. You might consult other books like Jerry March. Okay, Jerry March for that, and that is it. Okay, the delocalization, the bonding, the covalent bond, and the structural theory, all of these things. Okay, the next is chemical kinetics. This part is, I guess, quite properly explained in this book, because the rate of the reaction, what kind of molecules are involved in what kind of reactions, it will be SN1 or SN2, what is the rates of the reaction, which step is the slowest step, all these kind of things, and how temperature affects, all these things are like quite properly given in this book, but in a compact form. Okay, you can see that all of them completes in the single page only. Okay, so you have to like you can keep this part also as the for this part you can keep this book as a reference only. You might follow other books as well, but when we are studying organic chemistry, we are not concerned about really concerned about the thermodynamics and kinetics of the reaction. We are concerned about the mechanism and the process and the reagents of the mechanism of the reaction. Okay, so that I'll be just explaining, so hold it on. Okay, then collision theory, transition state theory, these are all topics of physical chemistry, and those are not so much required. Yeah, the mechanism of collision theory and the transition state theory, how the reaction, the energy profile diagram, about where here is the transition state, the starting material, and the product. These mechanisms have obviously arrived from the transition state theory, and you have to understand the transition state theory for understanding the intermediate reactions, and the intermediate intermediate that are formed in certain reaction, the transition state that are formed. Okay, and collision theory obviously determines that the number of effective collisions causes certain amount of reaction and those kind of stuffs. Okay, and kinetic principles is like we know that PKIE, primary kinetic isotope effect. Okay, so these are the one of the applications. Moving on to the next part, that is, hmm, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, let it. So the next part is, that is the mechanism part. Okay, so this is basically the most important part that we are normally concerned about in organic chemistry, and this, I guess, it is quite properly given in this book. Though as I am explaining you for certain topics which I will be giving, other than those topics, you can keep this book as a reference, and you might follow some other book for main context. Okay. So first of all, the types of reaction are, what are the type of reaction? The addition, elimination, substitution, condensation, rearrangement, pericyclic, oxidation. Okay, oxidation reduction. So addition type reactions we have in double bond addition. The elimination, we have formation of double bond via elimination of certain functional groups. We have substitution, that is SN1, SN2. Okay, elimination also has E1, E2 mechanism. Okay, then we have condensation, the rearrangement type. This is the most important type, because rearrangement has huge amount of reactions in the like in this subtopic. Okay, so you have to like consider each and every reaction, and name be it a name reaction or a non-name reaction. You have to like study each of them and practice properly, so as to perform well in your certain exams that you are about to give following this book. Okay, so rearrangement are one type. The pericyclic reaction, which is my favorite, obviously the most famous pericyclic reaction we know, Diels-Alder reaction. Okay, Diels-Alder reaction. So this is quite properly explained in this book. Okay, and the other two, pericyclic, the electrocyclic reaction, 2 pi addition, those kind of thing. And oxidation reduction is like a very common thing. It can be obtained in good context in any other book also. Okay, so yeah, so this is the case. Next we have the stereochemistry. Okay, now I would like to mention that stereochemistry in this book is like one of the best given if you are considering the stereochemistry of just reactions. Okay, so let us say, yeah, you if you kind of want to understand the basic concepts of stereochemistry, how molecules can be oriented in 3D space, you can consult any other book that I'll be mentioning. One of them is Eliel and one is S. Sengupta. Okay, so these are some standard textbooks which you might follow. So for example, for getting the for understanding the most basic concepts of stereochemistry. Okay, but if you are looking for concepts like the stereochemistry which are involved in the reactions, okay, then for that those things you can like you can study stereochemistry from this book. Okay, the optical isomerism and the stereochemistry of cyclic compounds. Okay, and this reactivity, the stereochemical reactivity, all these things are best explained in this book. So obviously I am telling it again, if you want to study the basic concepts and all other things of stereochemistry as there it is in any other competitive or non-competitive exam syllabus, you may follow ALEL and Sen Gupta books or any other standard textbook of stereochemistry if you have them. Okay, but if you want to follow the stereochemistry involved in reactions and related mechanisms, then you just completing this part of stereochemistry would be enough for you. Okay, next we have so the part 2 starts. So let me just change the pen color. Okay, I'm sorry. So for the part 2, that is the basic exact reaction mechanism that we have. Okay, so the reactions and the reaction mechanism. So the first part, that is the formation of carbon carbon bonds using organometallic reagents. So principles of how organometallic reagents work. What are the types of organometallic reagents? The most famous one, that is the Grignard reagent, that is the most applicable one. Okay, we have organosodium compounds, organolithium compounds, organocopper, organocadmium, organomercury, and organozinc compounds. Okay, basically sodium is not so much used, and you won't be expecting any questions from organosodium, because the sodium is the only property of sodium is that it is highly reactive, and therefore it is used. This high reactivity is used in certain proportion of reactions. Okay, organolithium is quite important, organocopper is quite important, and organozinc is important. But this cadmium, mercury, and sodium, those are like micronutrients, if you micro minerals, if you may consider. Those reactions bring about you can be used as a reagent for some reactions, but not a vast majority of reactions. Okay. Now, the next part, that is the formation of carbon carbon bond, that is the base catalyzed reactions. This part is extremely well established and explained in this book. So I would be recommending that if you are studying this base catalyzed reactions and this acid catalyzed reactions, you should study just this book only. This book has all the mechanisms, all the proper explanations regarding all type of base catalyzed reactions and the acid catalyzed reactions. So if you follow this book, you'll whole syllabus for these two topics would be completed. You won't be requiring any other knowledge from any other book even. Okay, we have this enolates and aldehydes and ketones. We have the alkylation of enolates. We have the activated alkenes. We have alkynes and reaction involving alkynes and cyanides. Okay, all of the reactions, the basic principle about how base catalyzed reaction occur, those all kinds of things are properly explained. Okay, similar to that, the acid catalyzed reaction, that is the self condensation of alkenes, the Friedel-Crafts reaction, Prince reaction, which is a new one. Okay, the reactions of aldehydes and ketones and mannich reaction, all of them are quite properly explained in this part. Okay, so if you are following these two, if you are about to study these two books, I would highly recommend that you must follow this Norman Coxon book for these parts. Okay, the next one is pericyclic reaction. Obviously, cycloadditions are one of the part of pericyclic reactions, which is given in the electrocyte reactions, cheletropic reactions, which is an extremely new concept and have been arised from inorganic. That is the formation of chelates. Okay, chelation from in coordination compounds. Okay, so those kinds of reactions are also obviously explained. Sigmatropic rearrangement, that is one example I have already told you. Diels-Alder reaction. Okay, and the in related reactions, the dish rotatory and the con rotatory, all these things are explained in this video, but explained in this book, but not to such greater extent. So you can keep this as a reference. Okay, now the further part, the mechanism part is now done. Now we will be moving into certain specific reactions that are like that we need to learn and memorize and visualize the concepts, so that we can solve questions in any competitive, non-competitive exams. Okay. First is aliphatic carbon nitrogen bonds. We have nitrogen saturation, we have unsaturated carbon bonds, we have electrophilic nitrogen. We have basically the most important part of here is the amino acid, peptides, and proteins. Okay, this part is quite properly explained in this video, this book, but I still be recommending to follow other organic bioorganic book for these parts. Okay, the jam syllabus, you already know that those terpenes and steroids and alkaloids, so those parts will be properly given along with the amino acid, peptides, proteins, carbohydrates, all the natural product chemistry. You can follow one single book for that, and you can keep this as a reference, though you won't be getting any prior any such detailed or any let us say exclusive information in this book. Okay, so, and next part is the electrophilic and the nuclear aromatic substitution and nucleophilic aromatic substitution. These has huge applications while when conversions are involved, when synthesis is involved regarding any aromatic species. Okay, so this is obviously quite properly explained in this book. So yeah, I might be suggesting you keep this book in for studying, and one another other book for reference also. Okay, two books, I guess two good books for studying the electrophilic aromatic and nucleophilic aromatic substitution would be enough. Okay, so, and continuation to the diazonium salts also, because the electrophilic aromatic substitution only causes the formation of diazonium salts from aniline. Let us say benzene diazonium chloride we are forming, that is formed from aniline only. Okay, and aniline is formed from the Tishinko reaction, which is a nucleophilic aromatic substitution. Okay, so those are the reactions. You might study them quite easily. I'll be showing them to you few minutes after. Okay. Then we have molecular rearrangement because of electron deficit carbon, electron deficit nitrogen, oxygen, and electron rich carbon. Okay. So because of the minus charge positive charge, we have those kind of called pilocolor rearrangement, 1,3 shifts of methyl shift, hydride shift, all kinds of those rearrangement. We are all of these are covered in this molecular rearrangement part. Okay. The next part is the reactions involve containing phosphorus, sulfur, silicon, and boron. So these are quite specific kind of reactions. So you can just go through them. Though I won't be recommending this book for just this book for following this part. You may consult that Jerry March book I have already mentioned in the starting. So you may consult that book also. Okay. Next, we have quite specific kind of reactions, that is photochemical reactions, all types of photoaddition, photoarrangement, photooxidation. Those are properly explained in this book. We have free radical mechanism because of the formation of carbon halogen bonds. So let us say if we take a hydrocarbon, we pass sunlight, halogenation takes place via free radical mechanism. So that is explained in this book. Okay, we have formed carbon bond, we form carbon nitrogen bonds, carbon oxygen, and other elements. Okay, so sulfur bonds and those kinds of things, those are like explained in this book quite in an extensive way. Okay, now organo transition metal reagent, this part is obviously not required by any of you in because it is not there in any syllabus of undergraduate level or maybe in postgraduate level. Okay, because organic reactions involving iron we don't have study that here, and those questions won't be asked in any of the competitive exams. Okay, so this titanium, the chromium, iron, cobalt, all these things, or the organic transition metals, you may just go through it, give it a read, but it is not required. Okay, so you may, if you want, you can skip that also. Now the next part is this oxidation reduction part. So this kind of this part is obviously, as I've already explained in the base catalyzed and acid catalyzed mechanism, oxidation and reduction is also quite properly and extensively and explained in quite details in this book. Okay, so I would recommend that you follow this part also from this book, just this book, and you won't be requiring any other notes or books for that. Okay, so that is one thing. And the last part, that is we have the synthesis of 5 and 6 member heterocyclic compounds. Heterocyclic, you mean like furan, pyrrole, and those kinds of things. pyrrole, pyridine. Okay, so this part is also explained in other books, so you may just neglect it from here. And this is just a general knowledge part. Okay, the last part, that is chapter number 22, is from the general knowledge part. We why it is given, just to increase the interest of readers to in like we are chemistry students. We know some let us take this compound, that is adenosine triphosphate. We have been learning ATP since a long time back now. Okay, basically from class 10, I guess. Okay, but we haven't synthesized that ever. Okay, we haven't learned about the synthesis of ATP. We know that it exists in our body. How it is synthesized, we don't know. Okay, so this part explain the synthesis of adenosine triphosphate. Similarly, penicillin, we know it is as a drug. Okay, but we no such synthesis has ever been done. Like, it is synthesized, but we haven't studied yet. Okay, so those things, and then chlorophyll is synthesized and those kind of stuffs. Okay, so let us look into the book. The contents are now explained. So let us look into the book and see what kind of material it is carrying, and how can the knowledge can be extracted from this book. Okay, so first of all, outside the content that is given, we have this very important part, that is nomenclature and conventions. I personally think that this part which is given, this nomenclature part, is not there in any syllabus, because it is basically excluded from all kinds of UG undergraduate syllabus, or any kind of competitive exams, because the people consider it not to be quite useful. Okay, I consider it to be very useful, because many a times certain structures are given to you in certain exams, but or you may say certain names are given in the exams, and you got to do a reaction. Okay, but you can't reduce the structure of the reagent that is given from the normal IUPAC nomenclature. Then what is the point of studying so much? Okay, you do basically, we are having problems from in taking the nomenclature and drawing the structure out of it. Okay, so I think this nomenclature part, normally it is a trend. It is a trend that normally many of the students have not no clear view of this nomenclature and convention part. Okay, so they need to practice it quite properly more, so that to get hand of it. Okay, so this part, I appreciate this book for giving this nomenclature and convention part outside the other material that is given. Okay, so what would do what this would do what this would do is this would enhance the name in the naming of the compounds, and the memorizing capacity of the students. Okay, so see, as you can see that many the name of the compounds is given in this book, given with examples. Okay, so you may just go through them, and all of these are given in the common name, so therefore you may just memorize all of them, and use accordingly, according to the question that is given. Okay, so you can see that many names are given. The functional groups are also given: ethyl group, vinyl groups, all of these things. So you may just go through them. Okay, now let us look into the part 1. So part one was chemical thermodynamics. As I already told you that about the two equations, that is the delta G equations, how the reactions occur, what are the delta G values, the delta S value, delta H values, how the Hess's law is used in the equation. Okay, all these things that are given in good manner, all the bond energies, but it is not what just if you just follow this book, you won't be getting so much information. Okay, for this chapter. Exclusive disclaimer for this chapter, as the chapter that I mentioned already, you will be getting enough information to study from this book only. You won't be requiring any book, but this is not that chapter. Okay, we have this the delta H values of certain conversions, and the graphs related to that, how the rotation of molecules changes the free energy values of the system. Okay, the potential energy changes, how the conversion from the chain system to the ring system, it does to the entropy values. Okay, so, and now the tautomerism, a very important concept. Okay, so tautomerism is with the changes in Yeah, so as I was saying that automatism changes the values of delta G and delta H and those kind of processes, and for each of the tautomer we get different values. Okay, so depending upon the value of delta G, we will be getting one tautomer as the major one and one of the is the as the minor one. Okay, so those kind of things are quite properly given in this book. Then we have the canonical forms, the cyclization reactions, and those kinds of things. Okay, well, the one thing that you can see the problem in this book that you can study all of the chapters from this book, but there is not enough questions that are given in this book, so you cannot check whether you have studied it quite properly, or you have memorized it quite properly, or you have understood the concept or not. Okay, you can see that for the whole this thermodynamic chapter only four questions are there. Okay, only four questions are there. Let me just change the color. Um, yeah, so only four questions are there, and that too those are very basic questions, and they won't be like very beneficial if you solve them. Okay, so that is one of the one of the cons of this book, that is you not so much questions is given in this book. So obviously while I'll be explaining, you will see that in every chapter that is the case, that is not so much emphasis is given on question solving, only the basic study material is given to you. Okay, then we have the molecular structure. Okay, we have this p orbital diagrams, how p orbitals overlap, what kind of structures are formed. Okay, so then this the free radicals that are formed, the carbocation carbon, and how they resonance is formed. Okay, so these kinds of things are given quite properly. The energy profile diagrams, as I explained in the last chapter, that is the energy profile diagram for rotation and formation of anti-Gauss conformers, they are all quite properly given. But this is the stereochemistry part, so you may just consult any standard stereochemistry book for that. You will be getting more details about it. Okay, then we have all these parts are explained, the resonance structures. Okay, basically this chapter is about bonding, so the main concern of the chapter would be resonance and the types of structures which are formed. Okay, so the energy profile diagram of benzene is also given. Now the naphthalene, the resonance form of benzene, the resonance of naphthalene, resonance of anthracene, all of these are given. Okay, so this is one part. So let us move on to the next chapter. Not so much information is given. Okay, the pK values is given. That would be one thing, and you can see the questions. Only one, two, three, four, five. Only five questions are there, and each of them not the solving one, just the theoretical questions. That is, you can just use them to enhance your knowledge, or just practice it quite not quite extensively, but in a say, small way. Okay. So moving on to the next question, that is next chapter, that is chemical kinetics. So these part is also, you can see the kinetics of these reagents is also obviously given quite properly. The energy profile diagram is drawn, the transition state, the activation energy, all of these things with mechanism, the transition states, the delta I values, all of the delta S values, all of them, the intermediates, all of these are quite properly explained in this. The TCP KCP is also one of the concepts. Okay, the TCP is the thermodynamically controlled product, and KCP is the kinetically controlled product. Okay, questions, small questions are given. 9 questions are there, though much better than the earlier chapters. Okay, now the mechanisms, you can see that good mechanisms are given in this book. Okay, all of the, I'm not going into details of this mechanism because this would take a lot of time, so I'll be just skipping this. um, um, yeah, so the chapter is not yet finished. It is such a huge chapter. Anyway, so you can see that quite much details is given. You can see that the electrocyclic reactions is quite properly explained. The molecular, the orbitals involved in the electrocyclic reactions are like explained, but not so extensively. So you may just use another book and keep this one as the reference. Okay. So questions are given. Questions, as this is a big chapter, many questions are given. Though not so much, still not so much, but comparatively many reactions are given. So you may just practice those. Okay. Now the stereochemistry, as I explained, firstly the introductory stereochemistry is given, that is the structures of how production formulas are formed, and then you can see that in basis of all of that we can study the reactions and how to convert from one production formula to another. Those things are quite properly given in this video, this book. Okay, you can see that the reaction, the stereochemistry involved in reactions, that is the value attack from a Lewis acid or in the presence of an H plus. Okay, you can see many all these reactions are like if the stereochemistry involved in these reactions are given in this book. Okay, so for reaction purposes you can follow stereochemistry from this book. Other than that you can follow any other standard stereochemistry textbook. Okay, yeah, so stereochemistry is all about that. Then the cyclohexane parts is there. Mm, moving on to the questions are given, and moving on to the part 2 one. Okay, so part 2 has this reaction mechanism and the reactions and certain mechanisms of certain reactions and their reagents and all those things related to convergence. Okay, so firstly we have this organometallic reagent one. Okay, so you can see that lithium reactions, firstly, and then the Grignard reagent reactions, all of them, you can see that ethyl magnesium bromide, all of them are given in quite a extensive good manner, but not so much, it is not quite heavily explained. The explanation level is like not so defined and not so precise. Okay, so you may just follow Jerry March or any other standard books for that. Clayton Warren Greaves, that is one of the books. You can follow those. Okay. So yeah, so this is the case. You can see many reactions are given. Now this chapter, as I explained to you earlier, that this is one of the best chapters that are there. This chapter and the next one, that is base catalyzed reactions and acid catalyzed one. So these would be like providing you enough information so as to not to follow any other reference book as such. Okay, you can see that at each and every pH, at each and every equilibrium constant value, what will be the kind of reaction that is occurring. Okay, how will the enolate look, what will be the present, what will be the reaction like in the presence of a in strong base or a strong weak base. Okay, so there are certain reactions are there, many huge famous reactions are explained in this video. Okay, so all of these are quite properly given. All kinds of reactions, the Claisen reaction, the Reformatsky reaction, all of them are given properly. You may just follow those. Okay. So yeah, so let me scroll those down. Savorsky reaction is already obviously given in this video only. So this book only. So you may just follow that quite properly. Okay. Then we have acid catalyzed reactions. Here you can see that many good reactions problems are given. So you may just follow those and practice those. Okay. Similarly, acid catalyzed reactions are there quite extensively provided. Reactions involving aromatic species are also given. Okay. So this is one thing. Moving on to pericyclic reactions. Okay, so the pericyclic reactions, you can see that how rings add up upon each other, what are the pi orbitals look like, what are the molecular orbitals bonding that is involved. Okay, all of these things are given. Okay, moving on to certain specific reactions, that is formation of nitrogen bonds. You can see, you can pause the video. I am just scrolling it down because time is less and I can't just explain the whole books one by one. Okay, I am just stopping the video some certain parts, so you may just scroll it down, pause the video and take a look at how this book how this book it is. Okay, and if you want the PDF, I have already given you my email. You may just mail me, I'll be providing you the PDF. Okay. Similarly, we have the carbon nitrogen, the formation of carbon nitrogen bonds I have already done. Then we have the electrophilic aromatic substitution. You can see the mechanism is quite properly given. The activating effects of certain activated and deactivating effects of certain functional groups are given. Okay. Moving on to then we have this nucleophilic aromatic substitution. Then diazonium salts. Question is not given such as such. 3 questions are given. A problem of this book. I have already said it. Okay. Then diazonium salts we have certain molecular rearrangements, all these reactions are given. Okay, then we have the phosphorus silicon reactions. Okay, though these reactions are quite like given in good way, but this is not enough for if you are just practicing it from this book. You need a reference, like you keep this book as a reference and follow another supreme textbook. Okay, Jerry March would be an ideal choice for that. Then we have photochemical reactions, the con and the disencon rotatory. The questions are given quite good ones. Okay, then we have free radical mechanism. Okay, all of these that are given. The next part is organo transition metals. I have already told you to exclude this part because it won't be required. Okay, next is oxidation reduction, which I have already told that in this book it is given quite extensively and in a perfect manner. So you may just follow it. You can see that all kinds of oxidation reduction are properly explained. Okay, moving on, we have reduction. Already said it about that. Then we have synthesis of heterocyclic compounds, which is the second last chapter. Okay, and this is already given, but you may consult any other book for that. Okay, in the last chapter, that is naturally occurring compounds, we have synthesis of you can see that the synthesis of septaxime is obtained with this drug, obviously. Okay, so this is the case. By this we come to the end of this book. After that, some reactions are given, some problems are given, and then we come to the index. Okay, so by this we come to the end of this book. I guess I've given a good review. If you have found this useful, please give a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to Sorcerer Classes for that. Okay, for further such videos, we'll be seeing you guys in the next video with another book review or any other topic related to that. Okay, so thank you.